you guys over there. So anyway, moving from domestic shootings to potential international shootings, I guess we need to talk about Iran, right?
We
Uh,
probably do.
yeah, nothing happened in Iran. Oh wait, that's probably wait. Oh, this is an interesting market. Oh, they put okay. I was confused for a sec because they put up a couple of new ones here. Right. So we had over the weekend this very funny spike on, I think it was Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here. When again, poly market traders doing poly market trader things. So basically we had, let's go back to what was the big taco was now what, 10 days ago?
That was
Almost
crazy. Yeah.
almost 2 weeks ago, yeah. So that was the taco. Then market kind of crashed because, well, nothing was going to happen, but they were sending in the cavalry, and that was no,
Yeah.
the aircraft carriers are coming. So you would expect that the price kind of what it did for a while, right? Peter out here around 20 cents. And I wasn't really getting in here. And actually, I'm still not in this market. But then for some reason on Friday, and then we need to switch back to this one. On Friday, there were a couple of flight cancellations, and
Yeah.
just like
People
Twitter was
panicked.
like, "Oh my God, now the aircraft carriers are here!" And there was some very interesting. I saw this now a couple of times. These Israeli media accounts quoting, I guess, Israeli TV or whatever, saying, "Oh yeah, the Americans are ready. Our preps are ready as well. We're not saying something will happen, but we're also not saying it won't happen, right?" So you never know. And people started losing their minds here. And I think here this is actually not even shown because this went as high as I think like close to 40 on really
Yeah.
nothing. Absolutely nothing happened, and there was also no new information there. So this was a
Yeah.
pure market inefficiency. I didn't step in here, although I was online at the time, but I'm just too traumatized by these markets. Anyway, now we're back down to now we're really down. I wonder what happened today.
Even
Yeah,
even if you look even if you look yesterday, that's a crazy spike to go up to
yeah, yeah,
28.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
was at 22. Always in these markets, I think it happened in Venezuela as well. It would go up to 40 cents each weekend. And then just come back down because nothing would happen. I think a lot of people really well, one big difference, I think a lot of people confuse Iran with Venezuela. I think people, especially as an American, you're kind of like growing up, you see the Middle East kind of as one block, and every country is, you see a guy with a turban, you kind of are taught to think every country is the same. I don't think people realize that Iran's a legitimate power, and you can't just. It's not like Venezuela where their air force is, 3 planes. It's that they have a serious military, and striking them would be a big deal. And so I think people are probably pricing Iran as like a weaker country that we could just do whatever we want with, and we can't really. We have any strike would need a lot of planning. It'd have to be, we'd have to have defenses set up long in advance, and it would be a big deal. So I think people who are panicking over nothing don't really understand that you can't just strike Iran. You have to plan it. You have to make sure that whatever you do is very decisive. And so these panics are quite inefficient and pretty easy to fade, at least for now.
This what famous last words. You know,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
prediction markets trader's words before Trump presses the button.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
at, at
We'll
least at
see
least
about
for
that.
this
That's
weekend, I
what I
think.
mate. That's what I thought when I was betting on Maduro to stay in before the new year. I was like, these stupid people. They're just giving me 3 cents on the dollar, and then what turned out was just the weather saved me, or I would have lost big time. No, in
Yeah.
general, I broadly agree with what you're saying. Yeah, it's quite a different situation. What I think. Might be happening. Oh, I will see. It's a lot more complex than Venezuela. Um,
Yeah.
this is what makes the market so interesting. But what might be happening is, and what the market is not pricing in yet. So the market there are two biases here at play. One bias, in my opinion, is like two wolves inside you, right? One bias is on the one hand, you had Venezuela, where it took months for Trump to actually do something. Because if you remember, he started the shit in August. And in
Yeah.
August, they were sending all these aircraft carriers to the Caribbean, and they were building up forces, so on and so forth. And then only at the end of the year, or rather the start of the new year, they struck. So this could be happening in Iran as well. But then on the other hand, you have the bias that, like Trump can just do things, and he pulled it off in Venezuela, and he pulled it off last time in Iran. And now who says he can't pull it off again? Because their air defense isn't all that good, and US now has a lot of assets in the region. So yeah, if they want to do something, they can absolutely do something. They couldn't do it tonight, if they wanted to. So this is, like the biases, are they canceling each other out? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I see there are a lot of interesting traders on no. This is all I'm going
Yeah,
to say. But if you read like on X, the bias is very much yes. I don't know if you feel the same, but like the media that I'm reading,
very much.
analysts, yeah, they're very. I'm not saying like the Israeli media is kind of yes biased in the sense of, oh yeah, it could happen any day now, which I don't really think. Um, but just in general, like people are, and this is also actually my opinion as well. Like eventually it's going to happen, but then you see here, you know, these are all the usual suspects on no here. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you make of this.
So I was thinking of getting a position on February no, because in Venezuela it took him months to plan that, and um, the Venezuela is much weaker. He could have, like, they could do whatever they wanted to with Venezuela. It was very clear from the start that Russia was not going to send any help, um, and that that any response from Maduro would be very weak. So he still took months to do that. I think the carrier arrived like in the middle of November, the end of November, and nothing happened until the next year. So with Iran, it's tough to say. What I think might have happened was the protests that happened were like there was some speculation that the CIA and Mossad kind of helped stoke these protests, and I would imagine so, at least to some extent, maybe not to the extent that people are saying, but I think the protests were kind of potentially orchestrated by the US and Israel as an attempt, like as an attack, and they wanted the protests to help them, like give them an impetus to topple the regime. And I think what potentially happened is those protests died down sooner than they expected, and the Iranian government kind of, suppressed or killed a bunch of protesters, and the protests died out faster than the US and Israel expected. And I think as a whole, that kind of attack failed. And I think now they have to go to a new plan or something like that. I also think that Trump with the aircraft carrier will use it more as a negotiating tactic instead of just show up and blow them up as he did last year. But that's just my speculation. I don't know.
It's I think this is a market that will keep us awake, probably at least me, for real, for a couple
Yeah.
of weeks. Because yeah, I mean this shit could happen, especially now, like also with, again, if it's a partial shutdown, it's a bit different. But like with this domestic unrest, which is kind of annoying him a little bit, and then yeah, market is actually fine, but this like unresolved fetcher situation, I don't know what's going on there. And then you have this, which is from the very beginning, I've been saying this is actually like to get involved there is bad policy, and he boxed himself in.
Yeah.
And he did, but now he sent all these assets there, and now he's sort of something has to, he needs to get some sort of resolution there, right? So this situation needs to be resolved in
But
one
it,
way or another. There needs to be a deal or there needs to be a strike, but they nothing
yeah.
ever happened, can't really happen here. So the question
But
is, what will happen and when?
for me, now that the protests are over, it really seems like what would a strike do? I mean, killing the Ayatollah seems a little bit useless at this point, and it's I don't think they're going to be able to completely destroy the regime with one strike, unless for some reason they believe Mossad has infiltrated all the way to the top and are ready. But I don't know. I feel like the goal of a strike, at least right now, doesn't really seem like it seems. I don't know what they would really be trying to accomplish with it. Um, and yeah, this is a good market. I think.
This
I think
Ayatollah
he makes
market,
it to the February. Means
this
it's
is
pretty expensive.
also interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened